Robinhood just rolled out this quiet but absolutely critical update, and it answers one of the biggest questions that users have had for years. It's a feature that honestly was long overdue, and it is a vital piece of your financial puzzle. So let's dive right in. Yeah, I know. It's a tough question to think about, but for any investor, it's absolutely essential. I mean, what happens to that portfolio you've worked so hard to build? The thing is, without the right plan in place, the answer can get really messy, super expensive, and probably not at all what you intended.
So here is the good news. Robinhood has finally quietly rolled out a feature that fixes this exact problem. And what's really interesting is they didn't do a big press release or anything. It was actually discovered almost by accident by a user who was just digging around in their account settings. Let's take a look at what they found.
And there it is. You can finally add a beneficiary to your Robinhood account. For a platform that built its entire brand on democratizing investing, this has been a huge, glaring omission for years. It finally gives all of us, retail investors, a critical tool for real, long-term financial planning. So what's the big deal? Why is this feature so incredibly important? Well, because leaving an account without a designated beneficiary can literally trap your investments in this costly, complicated legal mess, and that creates serious, serious problems for the people you're trying to provide for. And that legal mess, it has a name. It's called probate. It's the official court-supervised system for divvying up assets. And trust me, it's everything you don't want. It can drag on forever, it gets expensive with all the legal fees, and get this, it makes all your financial details a matter of public record. Okay, look at this. This chart basically shows the two different paths your assets can take. On one side, with no beneficiary, your account gets totally tangled up in probate court, racking up fees and taxes while your heirs are just stuck waiting. And in a worst-case scenario, the state could end up with it. But look at the other path. With the right beneficiary set up, like a trust, your assets just bypass that entire nightmare. They transfer directly, smoothly, and privately. The difference is literally night and day. So how do you get on that much, much better path? It's with a legal tool called a revocable living trust. Now, I know, the name sounds super complex and official, but it's really just a powerful instrument that you control. It's designed specifically to make sure your assets go exactly where you want them to go, with no court involvement. Now, the most important thing to get here is that a revocable living trust is something you create and you are in complete control of while you're alive. You can change it anytime you want. A great way to think about it is like a bucket. You put your assets into this bucket, you're still in charge of the bucket, but it comes with a crystal clear set of instructions for what happens if you're not around to manage it anymore. And the process itself? It's surprisingly simple. It really just boils down to 3 steps. First, you create the trust document. Second, and this is the new key step for all you Robinhood users, you just name that trust as the beneficiary of your account. That's pretty much it. Your assets are now set up to completely skip the probate system. Okay, so let's get practical. Let's say you have your trust or you're planning on getting one. How do you actually connect it to your Robinhood account? Well, the good news is it's really simple, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what you're going to need. To link your trust, you only need 3 little pieces of information: the official, formal name of the trust, the date it was officially created, and the tax ID, which for most of these living trusts is just your own social security number. That's it. That's all Robinhood asks for. Now here's a really smart pro tip from the source material, and this is all about privacy. When you're naming your trust, you don't always have to use your family name. If your state law allows it, choosing a more anonymous name can add a really important layer of privacy for your family down the road. Taking these steps, this isn't just about checking a box on some financial to-do list. This is about taking responsibility. It is a profound act of care and protection for the people in your life who matter most. At the end of the day, setting up a beneficiary isn't just a legal technicality. It is as fundamental to your financial plan as picking your investments in the first place. It makes sure that the wealth you're working so hard to build actually serves its ultimate purpose, to provide for and protect your loved ones. There's a quote from our source material that just perfectly captures the right mindset for this. It goes, "Live with the maximum amount of joy, but plan as though tragedy could hit any time." That balance, that mix of optimism and responsibility, that's what smart financial planning is all about. So we'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Now that you know how to do this, and you know why it's so important, have you taken this simple step to protect your investments? It really is one of the most important financial decisions you can make for the people you care about.